enthusiasts out there. It's your two favorite uncles back here for Cinephellas. I am Logan Myers. That's my good mate over there.
I'm Henry Hill. How's everybody doing? We are back and we're kicking off the summer movie blockbuster season right here on the Cinephellas channels. We've been watching all these summer movies that have been dropping every week. And this one dropped a couple weeks ago. Both of us finally got around to watching it. It's the continuation of the Planet of the Apes series. Now, this one, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Wes Ball is directing. Caesar's long gone. It's taken place hundreds of years in the future. Yes, we're reviewing Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
The elders did not tell us everything about this world. Nor bend for your king. Never.
You remember we reviewed the first three films recently, the Planet of the Apes movies. The first time I actually got around to watching those, had a great time with it. But this time around, it's being helmed and directed by Wes Ball, taking this, franchise to the next chapter, essentially setting it up. This time around is focusing on the character of Noah, played by Owen Teague. He sets out to rescue his people against this ape tyrant. Proximus Caesar, played by Kevin Durant, which we just talked about in Abigail, and it sets up, this whole new world.
This one was more like an adventure story where Noah here is a young ape, and that whole beginning sequence where it's him and a couple other apes, and they're like in the jungle, and he kind of almost falls to his death. That scene was pretty cool and brought me into the movie right away. This one felt more like an adventure from the perspective of like a young ape. And now that it's in the future and many generations have passed since, Caesar passed away, he's very much alive, and the mystique of Caesar is very much alive. Although, Proximus and the villainous apes have kind of twisted his beliefs and vision and distorted it. And that's really what we're facing in this movie. As you can see on the poster behind you, we're advancing into the future where, the old skyscrapers and the cityscape is being grown over, as we've seen in a lot of, apocalyptic TVs and movies, where you see the growth over the buildings and everything. It looks like, we're into the future here. And now in this film, we're getting to the apes, controlling and being the main species on Earth. And now the humans are kind of like the shadow characters.
Yeah, they're kind of more in the backdrop, and you can see how the apes have evolved over these hundreds of years to where they're at now, currently in this film, which is really incredible. They have relationships much like humans, or they have kids, and they have their significant other, and how far they've come since Caesar. But beginning of the film, they kind of started off like what happened to Caesar, and like fast forward till these years later, and things going on with Caesar still in the backdrop of the film. You could still sense that character and how far they've come. And it's really interesting. They also set up the character of Raka, played by Peter Macon, and then of course Nova, Freya Allen from The Witcher.
Yeah, there's a lot of action pieces in here, and something happens with Noah's family, and it kind of sets him off on this journey. And we see some bad apes along the way, and they've enslaved some of the other apes. So you have this, Proximus Caesar being the villain here, and it's Kevin Durant, like we mentioned. He's having a hell of a summer, as we talked about before, and he was really great in this role. He played a great villain, a really somebody that's twisted Caesar's vision and just like completely maligned it. And, he's looking to take humans for slaves. And the humans in this story, as you find out with the movie, they're trying to find a way to communicate and to access like the satellites to be able to communicate. And it's all about Proximus trying to, get all that for his own, for his own power, and to establish them as the dominant species. And we see the humans being chased and kind of hunted, especially in that one little action piece within the middle of the film where all the humans are down at like the stream drinking water. And, the apes come in there and basically take them all out. It's pretty brutal how they do it. There's some really cool scenes and everything. The CGI, again, it's phenomenal in this. Going over the years from Rise to where it's at and Kingdom now, the technology keeps getting better. They become more and more lifelike. And as far as the way everything looks in this film, terrific. Everything looks great. Motion capture technology is advanced. And, having Caesar still the thought of him and his essence being in this film, it's a nice continuation of those films, and it's going to lead into this next trilogy here. Eventually, they have this plan to go and remake all the 9. So it's going to be interesting to see where this story goes and how it's, Caesar's memory is going to affect all these films, because I have a feeling he's going to bind all these together by the time this franchise is over, at least these new, set of films.
What was that meme that Bob shared? James Franco was just trying to Alzheimer's, and then, of course, he have all these movies because of that.
Right.
James
Yep.
Franco.
It was
Oh,
all from
man.
James.
All because of him in the first movie, Rise of the Planet of the Apes. But all jokes aside, yeah, this is a beautiful looking movie. The visual effects, this Spell did a really, solid job setting up this world, taking on the next chapter after Matt Reeves, one of the best directors in the business. And you set the bar high with that movie, but Westball did a pretty decent job with this movie. Visual effects look great, motion capture work was also phenomenal. A lot of the characters they set up were pretty interesting, but I just didn't feel attached to the characters as much as I did in the first 3 films. And of course, Caesar. I don't think Noah was as strong of a character compared to Caesar, but maybe it'll get better throughout the rest of the films. But this one is more the introduction, just didn't have that connection with them as much.
Yeah, it definitely felt a step away from the last film, especially, when the War for the Planet of the Apes and, all those films that Matt Reeves, that world that he created. And there was a lot more dialogue in between the characters and character building within those 3. So it definitely feels like a step down from that, but definitely not like a huge fall off or like, they totally dropped the ball and the franchise is over. It's nothing like that. It's just you can tell the difference between the filmmakers here. We have Westball inheriting the franchise here. This is his first shot at it. He has to establish these new characters, and it's a big task to take on. So, other than that, other than not being as involved and not having the same emotional impact, it still felt like a good entry into this franchise, and I'm still hopeful for the next couple films. And, I did like the character of Nova, the human character. She did a great job in that role. Freya Allen, and you learn more about her character as the story goes on, and you meet other humans. William H. Macy pops up along the way. So Uncle Frank, he's out in this world too. So that was cool to see him. But yeah, this is just a lot of character building, and it's going to lead into the next films. So it just feels like there's more story that needs to be told by the time this one's over. It establishes a lot of the characters. It kind of sets things up for the next couple films.
That being said, I'm going to give Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5. Noah hair pieces.
No. Yeah, that really is the perfect score, I think, for this movie. A 3.5 out of 5. Where the Matt Reeves were 4 and 5s for us. This just had a lot of groundwork and a lot of story to cover and introduce us to these characters. But it's a good start, and we'll see what happens and who's going to direct the next films. I don't know if Wes Ball is lined up to direct the next couple of them too in these next 3. But, eventually what I'd like to see is, if this is, the next trilogy, maybe the last 3, Matt Reeves can come back around and sort of wrap everything, up, come back for the final 3, where it leads into the stuff that we remember from the Charlton Heston movies and everything, and that famous ending. Because that's where it's going to go to. So that's exciting. I really have, enjoyed all these movies. There hasn't been really a weak link out of these movies. The first one had a lot to set up with Caesar, and then they just kept on getting better. And this one, while not as good, obviously, as the Matt Reeves film, it was a pretty thrilling ride at the movie theater. It was a nice experience, and it looked great, and it was a fun movie going experience. So with that being said, I too am going to give Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes a 3.5 out of 5 Kevin Durand hair pieces.
So I want to hear from all you wild apes out there. What did you like about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes? What didn't you like about it? What's your favorite film in the franchise? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, check out these wild uncles on Facebook, X, and Instagram, and our website, Cinephellas.com, for the latest, greatest TV movie news and reviews.
It's going to be a hell of a summer here. There's movies coming out every week. We've got a backlog, even, movies that we didn't get a chance to see in theaters, but the turnaround on movies nowadays, it's insane. Like they're in the movie theaters for a month, not even. And then, a week or two later, they're hitting digital. So really, there's not really too much time in between. So we're literally going to be back to review pretty much every movie that comes out this summer, at least the ones that we know are, fans out there and you guys will be interested in seeing. We try to cover all those. So stay tuned all summer long for these wild boys in the summer blockbuster season. Thank you guys for watching our review of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. And until the next Cinephellas movie review, I'm Uncle Henry Caesar.
And I'm Uncle Noah Myers signing out until the next movie review. Jeez!